Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you a color matching trick that is so simple. You're going to be like, why didn't I think of this before? And honestly, this is going to make the biggest difference in your coloring, and it is so simple. My first video in this course, I said we're going to need this. Now you're going to see the first reason today of really why you need this color wheel. This is the one. There's lots of color wheels out there. This is the one that does it. Now, it has the turning thing when you first get it. I tore mine off. You don't need it. Not for these tricks. In fact, it'll get in the way. So you have the swatch and comps, which I gave you in the class. I gave a blank one to the my coloring book group, and all of that is in the description box. If you are following along with the paperwork for this course, they're in the course. It's included. When you download it. I'm going to take a brand new sheet, and this happens to be the Deli Pencils. And I chose Deli Pencils because it has numbers only. I didn't include any of the sets that only did numbers because numbers change and that's going to drive you nuts. This is for your set. You take your set, and it could be any pencil set, any one, from Prismacolor down to Crayola. It works with everything. And what we want to do is we want to get the undertone of the pencil, because when you get the undertones matching, automatically you can make beautiful gradients. And you don't have to fight with harsh blending, and you can do lighter layers and your gradients come out a lot smoother. Swatch out your set. Now, I already cut out this set. What you're going to do is you're going to go for the outer ring on the paper that has the outer ring. Then you're going to take an X-Acto knife. This happens to be mine. And just cut out the inner square. You can use a manicuring scissor, but you're going to cut out the inside. You're going to forever keep this because this is good for all, this is a good swatch sheet for your pencils. And you're going to put the numbers in. Now, these numbers are in order, but not 100%, because I was just picking the pencils up and swatching. I just happened to have gotten it just by sight alone. In the description box with this video, I'm going to put the order that you put your pencils in. So some of these are not in perfect order. The ones in the description box will be in perfect order. Okay, immediately I see a match. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but if you look at this and turn this, you can tell that this is not a match. Okay, when you turn this, you can see that it's a match. Look at what the thing is. It's a red. So then it's going to be a red. And I put an R. Now I'm going to do the second one. Most likely it's going to fit within the red. It's starting to get lighter, a little bit lighter, and you can see that it's starting to disappear. Once it starts to disappear, you know you're matching your undertones. So this is another red. If it starts to get darker, this is the lighter side. The other side has other combinations that are still undertone red. So if I put this here on the other side, it might not match up 100%, but your undertone is still going to be red. You just got to test both sides to make sure that you're getting the right one. It's extremely easy when you are doing it, and only takes a few minutes to do the whole swatch sheet. Now you're going to do the other one, and you can tell this is the pastel side, and the other one is the muted side. So immediately, mine happened to be in a row, so we know it's starting to get lighter and lighter, and look how much it's matching up. It's feeling right, it's looking right, and you've got another red. Here's the pink, very light pink. This is starting to get a little bit orangey. So I'm going to look at the bottom one, and you know what? It's not 100%, but it's starting to get a little bit of yellow in it. See how this is starting to look a little bit better against that and a little closer? You really can tell that this color is an in-between, and it's closer to the orange red. So you're going to put in an orange red. Don't trust your eyesight. Until you are really good with color matching, sometimes what your eyes see is not what it really is, because it's affected by the colors that are around it. This is completely squared off. You can only see it surrounded with that color. So when you use this sheet, you're going to get a real picture of what that color is. And many times I'll be looking at a color and it just won't be right. If I match it up with this, because usually before I had these sheets, I would just take this and go like that. And if the color did not feel right. So here we'll do a couple more. We'll get over on the greens. Here we have our green colors. Now watch what happens between the yellow green and a blue green. Right there. We're looking at this one. It's matching up. And this is a green yellow. So I'm going to put green yellow. Green yellow. Now let's take a look at this color. Because this color is also green. But it's not going to match up 100% with that. Switch it right next door. You have almost a perfect match. And this is a pure green. Okay? So you're going to just mark it with the green. You're marking it with what it says on the outside of this. There is 18 color categories on here. It will match up with every set everywhere. You only need 18. Sometimes they'll come with 12. That's why I said to buy the 18. It will work with this one. I know that some people said they had the rainbow. And you kind of do it with this, but not that it's not that great because they're giving you a lot of choices in here and it's harder to see. And then you have to take it apart and figure out what it is and turn it over, and there's nothing on the back to match up. And this doesn't have that many variants of a color as this does. 99.9% of the time you're going to find it within all of these or all of these. See how on this one, just put it down. Look how easy it is to match up. Is it perfect? No, but look how close it is. Green yellow. We know this is a green yellow. And then what happens is, say, let's do this one. We have, no, not really. No, no, no. Let's see on the other side. A little bit. A lot. It's a green yellow. Now let's take a look at what happens when you match up these colors and try to do a gradient with them. I just reviewed the first part of the video and it was a little bit difficult to see. I turned down my lighting system and we'll see if it's okay. Here you have the 3 pencils. And these pencils were all deemed to be green yellow, and green yellow. So we have 3 analogous colors. The obvious one, 145, which is this one. Sorry, it's not 148. This is why I hate, absolutely hate foil on pencils. I can't read it for anything. It's 148, not 145. So you have 48, 49, and 50. Okay? Obviously, it's very clear to see which is the darker of the 3. Very obvious. Now you have 50 and 49. Now, why did this one turn out to be 49 and this one was 50, or this was 50 and this was 49? The box doesn't even put them in the right order, and it's not the right or the wrong order. So I'm about to show you another thing about doing this that puts a little hiccup in the Giddy app. When putting them in the box, you want to put them in from dark to light. And you're not going to have a steady curve going down, okay, or up. It's not going to happen. Why? Because the color values on these 2 pencils are the same. What do I mean about value? How bright the pencil is. While you're coloring, you use 48, 49, and then 50, which is over here. It'll look like this. Then you're like, oh, that's not right. And then you switch it. And you go, oh, no, that's not right. And then you go back to this. That's because your color value range is the same for these 2 pencils. They're not the same colors. Okay? But remember that other little sheet that I told you to get, Greyscale Value Finder. Value is going to tell you how bright a pencil is. And a lot of times with these colors, you're going to have different colors with the same value in it. Which means when you go to line it up where it starts to disappear, so say it's probably over here. This is probably a color range of 8. This is going to be a color range of 8 also. In fact, they are. They can even be 7s, between 7 and 8. So your color value, or how bright a color is, you could have 4 or 5 of them in a box. So it makes going from dark to light a little bit difficult in just like looking at your pencils and saying, oh, this is so easy, I'll just take 1, 2, and 3 that are next to each other. What you would want to do in this situation to get your analogous trio is to skip values. So what I would do here with this is I would take 148, then I would probably go to 150, because that's a pretty nice gradient. I would go to 150. I'm using very little pressure. Okay? Then I would want something even lighter. And in this set, there is no lighter pencil. You don't have a lighter green. That's why this, I mean, the Deli Pencil set has only got 72 colors. So in this case, I would start looking for, go back on here. We're working with the green yellows. I would then start to go to the next color set, which would be in my yellowish range. And you would just look in your pencils and on your swatch sheets. And I would probably move to, so now I'm going to take my 106, put it down. And then over that 106, I would take that last pencil, which would be the 49, and go over the 49 lightly with it. That would tint it up more green, but still give you the value range the 3 have. Now, there's going to be a lot of layers on this. Remember, this is just your bottom layer. This would be your highlight layer. See how nicely that's starting to go into it? I'm using very little pressure. For you guys that have hand problems or hand issues, using this method is much easier. At the very end, when we're doing our highlights, I take my white. Now, I'm not using one of these whites from the set. In China, they just don't make a good white. And I know that's like insulting to every single brand that comes out of China, but it's the truth. Treat your whites like they're an instrument or their own separate entity, and get yourself a good white pencil. I recommend 2 different ones. I recommend the Holbein Soft White, and I recommend the Derwent Drawing Chinese White. Great colors. When you go to put your highlight in, look how brightly that goes on with very, very little effort. And that smooths it all out. And you have a really good analogous trio going on in here. So that's how you play with these things. It takes a little bit of time to be able to figure it out. I'm going to do this set for you. To do this trio, you might want to darken here and go with the next darker color into the greens, which would be the 145, which is the green, and take it out darker over here. So you could keep spreading out your values and understand there's so much more when we start putting this into the pictures. You're going to be spreading out your values that you should have a 9 value and you should have like 2 value and a 9 value. This is really helpful, this Greyscale value finder. It's not as important as having this, but believe me, this saves me a lot. When you go to do your end results and you go to do your final spread with your darks and your lights, having this is invaluable. I mean, this is just where it's at. Don't take the plastic off of it because the cards get dirty, and this is how you keep it clean. Just keep it in the original wrapper. It's perfect. So that's how you set up your box. As I said, You could do it for every pencil set. Now, should you just get a larger set? Now, the Brut Funner comes out with 180 pencils, and there's lots of like closely matched. Yeah, it's great to have lots, but it gets a little bit confusing when you're marking up your pencils. Now, what you can do on these is put a little bit of tape at the bottom, and with a fine marker, just write what it is and put the tape around it. I do that all the time. All the markers that I have from Prismacolor are done like that, every single one of them. I have sets of pencils that I've done this to. I used to do it with nail polish. And you could do that too. You could put some white nail polish on here and use a fine liner to write in what it is. Just use the abbreviation. Yellow is Y, green, GY, yellow, green, YG, and just use like the first initial, and your whole set is done. Once your set is set up, and that's why I say to really in this course concentrate on one set. You could bring in other colors from other sets. Just do this to them. Find out what they are. If, say, you have a Mark Art or you have Starjoy, which has 120 pencils, even more than this, you can mix and match all you want. Adding in Prismacolor, it's the same thing. Use your Prismacolor with your oil pencils, and we're going to discuss that later on because it becomes a little bit more important later on, what you're going to do with your wax and oil. But this is exactly what you have to do for now. If you could do this, you are up to date. Now, as soon as we get through these 3 beginning videos, we're going to start with the pictures. And that's when it's going to get a lot of fun. And you're going to just see how easy this technique is going to be, and your flowers are going to come alive. This is going to end today's class. Now, this is the second class of the 3-part series that I'm doing before we work on the actual pictures. If you haven't seen the first one, it was on hand control. Everybody should be working on those graph papers. You will not regret it when you get into doing the pictures. You're going to be very happy that you did practice it beforehand. I want you to choose one set. I know it's hard because a lot of you have a lot of sets. Choose the set that you're going to use in this class and identify your undertone. And that's what you should be working on now. The next class is going to be how to properly lay down the color. So we will have pencils in hand next week. The paperwork for this class is in the description box below, and I will see you in my next class. Take care. Bye-bye.